Paul was writing the inner calm of serenity of the soul and an inward peace born of faith and trust in God. This is the type of peace the Lord brought to him and gave him a calm in the midst of the storm when all others were afraid. See, when Paul was in prison, he had no fear. What he did, he started to praise God because he had an inner peace in him that says that if I praise God, something's going to happen. I get a kick out of some people. They'll say, well, I didn't come to church because I really wasn't feeling like it. Well, I don't know about you, but when I start praising God, my situation changes. I'm walking without my cane right now. Why? Because when you start praising God, God recognizes that what you're doing, and he sends the Spirit of God to come down and touch you where you are. So when you're not feeling well, Donna needed a new knee. Now, she had a choice. She could go to the hospital, get the best surgery she could get to put that knee in, or she could go into a back alley somewhere and have somebody play around for her knee and ruin her leg forever. See, when we need a touch from God, we need to go to the Master. Let's not go to the world and ask them, because they're not going to give you good advice. They're going to give you something that they read in a book. And I'm not talking about the book. We need to go to the book that was written by the God for his people and for our guidance. It was love that caused Jesus to say, Father, forgive them. And when God speaks to us, let me just say this. And I'm not pointing the finger anywhere. But I have a lot of people come to my office talking about what somebody's done to them. And I think I got about the same standard answer every time they come in. What they done isn't important. What's important is your forgiveness of that act. See, we got to learn to forgive because Jesus forgave them for nailing him to a tree. Now, how many of you has been nailed to a tree? If you raise your hand, I want to see the marks. Jesus said, my peace I give you, not as the world gives. The peace of God is a gift and must be accepted in its humanity and thanksgiving. The Old Testament prophet said, you will keep him in perfect peace, those mind is stayed on you, because he trusts in you. The key is the last 5 words, because he trusts in you. We need to trust in him. Amen. These words contain the secret to the possession of peace that we keep in his peace. Wrapping this up. The peace of God is really the gift of himself. God gave himself for you. I can't imagine all your life being in heaven. Not knowing anything else other than being in heaven. One day, God the Father came to the Son and said to him, "Son, I think it's that time. It's time for you to go to earth, be born as a babe, where you'll have to put your life into the hands of a mere woman. You have to be born just as all those humans are. And while you're there, you're going to live for about 33 years. And then the religious leaders are going to nail you to an old rugged cross. Talk about love. How many of you would do that? Especially for people who hated you in the first place. See, this Jesus story is something more than simply a babe being born. I read a story the other day, and it went like this. During the Second World War, the U.S. troops had liberated a small village on the western slope of a mountain in Italy. The men of the 7th Army were engaged in securing the town against a counterattack. And through the rumble of a partly destroyed church stepped an American soldier with his rifle ready. Then he heard a voice of someone weeping, and there in the torn altar was an old man who was knelt down. The soldier asked the cause of his weeping. Had he been injured in the fighting? Had he lost a loved one or a friend? The old man looked up and he says, "No, it's nothing like that. It's just a peace, and it's so good." Have you got that peace today? Have you got that peace? Peace is good. And it's heaven's gift to earth. And God's gift to man. And it's available any time of the year. But on this day that we celebrate the Prince of Peace, I believe he's here stronger than you've ever seen him before. Are you willing to reach out and grab hold of that peace that God has for you? And I say this not as a boast, but if it wasn't for that peace, I could not have done what I was called on to do Friday. Somebody you've known for about 8 years, served with them in serving God. And they'd go home to glory. You better have peace that passes all understanding, or you're going to fall short. Church, this was a different type of message. Like I told you, abbreviated. But there's one thing that I believe that God has for us today. I know he does. It's not believing. Is peace. Jesus is peace. Have you got financial problems coming? Did you know you have peace when you owe everybody in the county? You know you can have peace when you wake up in the morning and you got a knee twice the size of what it should be? Did you know you can have peace when somebody on staff passes on? Did you know you can have peace regardless of what's going on in the world? And that's the peace that God has promised us. And he's told us it's a peace that's supernatural. It's not just some little type thing. So this morning, when they begin to play, if you need peace, I don't care what kind of peace it is, let's come up here and put doubt and fear and worry. Let's just spread it all across the front. And then when you turn around to go back and sit down or exit, don't pick it back up. The only thing you're going to pick up is that peace that passes all understanding. Now's the time.